Welcome to ProPractice, your guide to piano mastery. I'm Josh Wright, and today's episode is based on the Chopin Étude in F major, Op.25 No.3. And I'll start out with just a little snippet of this in case some of you aren't familiar with this piece. That's really tough, by the way, and I have a few thoughts on how to work on that. I'm pretty out of practice with this piece. I mean, I performed this a lot as a teenager and really haven't touched it since, to be completely honest. I think I played the Op.25 Etudes as a set one time in my early 20s. I performed all the Etudes quite a few times when I was a teenager. I loved these pieces, but I have a few thoughts that can help you not only with that section, but things about how to get lighter, how to get more accurate, how to add kind of a flair, because this can start to become a very boring etude. If it's not light, okay? So let's just dive right in and start with the fact that this piece really shows what a genius Chopin is as a modulating genius. So he goes from F major and through a series of modulations, he goes all the way to B major. And then he modulates all the way back to F major. Now, if you look at the circle of fifths, that is pretty extraordinary that he does it so effortlessly. So this piece, just keep in mind as you play it, how incredible Chopin is as a composer as you go through all these keys and how smooth and fluid it sounds. I mean, I don't have to tell any of you what a great composer Chopin was, but it is quite extraordinary when you go in with that mindset to notice how he just switches keys and steps through the circle of fifths so effortlessly to get to his desired key. Let's talk about reducing tension, first of all. This is probably the hottest topic on my entire YouTube channel, and also within all these ProPractice videos, is how do I get looser in the hand? So how do we get the hand to really do that and release like that? Because I've seen a lot of students, not with this particular etude per se, but just with any piece, get a little heavy-handed, get tight, jump around, and it creates a lot of tension, which slows them down. It makes them get tired really quickly. So let's just start with a simple exercise. Let's just play the top line, and what I want you to do is just release to the side a little bit. This has multiple benefits because it's not only going to help you release the tension out of your hand, because if you hold on to the tension or lock your hand in any way, that's bad. But when you release it to the side like that, it kind of helps to release any bad tension that you may have accumulated as you played that. But it also helps you voice the tops. And when you have a loose hand, you have so much more freedom to explore the expression that you want. So, see, that's quite nice. Crescendo, then less. Maybe take a little time at the top, then less, and finish off. Okay? So I would just practice the top line doing that rotation. Additionally, just as an accuracy exercise and to help when you put the whole chord together, when you say a whole chord, it's just these two notes, but I would also practice the bottom note of the chord followed by the other two. So, and I haven't done this anytime recently, so this is kind of me reading through it with you guys. Let's see. Okay, so then when you go to put it together, the hand should feel pretty confident with the positions. Now, if you're having a hard time bringing out the top line, let's say that you're really accenting the thumb and let's talk about how to get that a little bit lighter. One of my favorite exercises is the voicing exercise, which I talk about in so many videos. Any of you familiar with my YouTube videos or ProPractice videos have probably seen this many times, but just practice staccato piano on the bottom and forte legato on top. Just keeping that thumb as light as you can and just really sharp. Very beneficial. And I think that you'll find that it's quite easy. I would do the same thing in the left hand. So you can practice the full chord. And by the way, my fingering would be something like 4-1-2-5. 4-1-2-5. And getting all of those jumps blind comes not only after years of playing things like waltzes, or even something more complex like the first Ballade coda. But also careful practice within the passage. But I'm just saying, if this is your first big jumping piece, don't expect this to be easy. You should have had probably a little more experience with jumping before diving into this one, because this is definitely an etude in accuracy as well as lightness and key areas like we were talking about. That's more of the theoretical side of the etude. But one of my favorite things to do is practice eyes closed. So just until that starts to become second nature. Sorry, I think that was wrong. F, yeah, and then go to G. And then let's see here. Okay, so, and then you can isolate each voice as well. Now, if that's not even working, isolate just 2-note jumps. So just your top to your bottom note. And then, okay, and then just, let's see. Okay, and then all of them. Oh, some of those were inaccurate. You're also noticing that I'm using rotation of the arm. I'm not only releasing that way with the right hand, but I'm kind of doing this or actually it's kind of a full circle with both hands. So they go out the opposite way, obviously, because they're going out towards this, then they come back in. And when you really start to master that concept, the sky's the limit with the tempo. But let me just tell you one of my thoughts. This is just Josh Wright talking. This isn't some scholar in a book talking. I think, of course, Chopin wants this to be really, really... And I'm going to give you some exercises to get them to sound somewhat like that. Not all of them are perfect. Of course, he wants those to be fast, and he wants them to match the tempo of the rest of the piece. You don't want to be going, let's see. Sounds awful, right? I've heard a lot of students do that, and then they'll just be like, oh yeah, that was my hard section, back to the easy stuff. And then they'll go back to their fast tempo. I think, just my own thoughts, that's a way of Chopin writing in tempo control, to not let things get out of hand. He could have easily written the whole piece just in these figures, because it's only, what is that, 7 bars, or 8 bars right there, and then he does a little thing at the end. Sorry, got some stickers from when I was like 15 years old from my teacher. But that's kind of an ending section, so maybe there's a little bit more leeway in there. I mean, I don't want you to slow down a ton, but could he have gotten away with just writing the whole piece in these figures? Probably, and it would have sounded great. But by writing in those 30-second notes, again, just my opinion, but I think that's a way of him controlling the tempo, so you're not... And you're going to hear recordings. I'm not going to name any names because they're actually pianists I greatly respect, but some of them do that. That are so fast, and then some of them are clear and some of them aren't. And I think this is such a charming piece. He did not write presto in here. He wrote allegro, and allegro doesn't necessarily even denote tempo necessarily. I mean, it is a tempo marking, but it is referring to an emotion just as much as it is to a tempo marking. So I don't think that you need to feel confined to go super fast in here, okay? And he does write leggero, so... Okay, so I think that tempo is fine. Now, let's get to how to practice this crazy little part here. All right, the first thing I would do